The rise of AI-generated content, rethinking media, monetization, and meaning. Introduction. The rise of AI-generated content marks a profound inflection point, not just in media production, but in how humans perceive, value, and organize their experience of the world. More than a tool, AI is becoming a creative substrate, capable of producing infinitely adaptive, personalized, and context-aware content streams. From ambient audio environments to poetic interludes, from generated stories to interactive simulations, AI is ushering in a world where content is no longer fixed, but alive. This shift demands more than a technical response. It calls for a rethinking of three core dimensions of civilization: media, monetization, and meaning. To do this, we begin by re-examining an ancient and recurring structure at the heart of communication: the logic of signal and interruption. We then trace how AI transforms this structure, enabling modular content, diminishing the value of traditional advertising, and pointing us toward tokenization and telemetry as more elegant funding models. Finally, we confront the risks of this new paradigm: context collapse, recursive drift, and the potential for disenchantment. If AI-generated content becomes the new normal, then the question is no longer if we'll live in its world, but how we'll survive, thrive, and design within it. 2. The signal interruption paradigm. At the foundation of modern media is a simple loop: stream, interruption, stream, resumes. Radio, television, podcasts, YouTube, even the evening news, each relies on a continuous flow of content interrupted by advertisements. This logic has shaped not only what we consume, but how we fund our consumption. And while it began as a clever way to monetize mass attention, it has now become a structural constraint, forcing content creators to optimize for interruption rather than immersion. To better understand how content quality works, especially when ads or interruptions are involved, we use something called the entertainment value equation. In simple terms, entertainment value equals the strength of the content itself, divided by how loud, frequent, or intrusive the interruptions are, and multiplied by how badly or how well those interruptions fit the mood. Now, if the interruption is jarring or doesn't fit at all, that's what we mean by CN is close to 1, then even great content starts to feel annoying or broken. But if the interruption is beautifully timed, subtle, and fits the vibe, which is what we mean by CN approaches 0, then the interruption actually becomes a part of the experience, not a distraction from it. The key insight is this: when you design from the inside out, signal first, interruption becomes part of the rhythm, not a rupture. Section 3, AI-generated content as a new media substrate. Traditional media is static. Even when it's streamed, it's fixed, designed for many, optimized for the average. AI-generated content is none of that. It is modular. Content is composed in real time from reusable parts. Adaptive. It changes based on context, weather, time, emotion, history. Personalized, not only to individuals, but to moments. Interpretable by agents. Agentic AIs don't consume like humans. They access services directly, bypassing ads entirely. The result is a living content stream, one that is generated, not delivered. And because content is now woven in real time to match the environment, interruption must evolve too. You can no longer pre-bake a commercial. Instead, you must program ambient prompts, interludes, or contextual invitations that feel like they belong. In this world, signal is the system, AI is the composer, and the content becomes an experience, not a unit of entertainment. This content is brought to you by Bobby Giggs. Promote your brand here and reach a wide audience across platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Follow the links in the description to get started. Beyond advertising, tokenization and economic rethink. The traditional advertising model is not only intrusive, it's obsolete in a world where agentic AI interacts directly with services via APIs, skipping the visual ad layer entirely. The human web was built for clicks. The machine web will be built for intention, automation, and direct access. In this new environment, tokenization emerges as the more natural funding model, one that aligns with participation, feedback, and value creation. Here's how. Tokens as access gates. Instead of paying with attention, users gain access to content streams, environments, or experiences by holding or using specific tokens. Each content layer or service becomes its own microeconomy. Protocol-level revenue. Every time a token is swapped or moved within the ecosystem, e.g., for USDT or another asset, the creator or protocol earns a fee. This turns usage into a sustainable income stream for service providers. Telemetry plus tokenomics. Every interaction, clicks, pauses, skips, sentiment feedback emits telemetry. That data not only refines the content, but also feeds into token value, pricing tiers, and supply controls. Bottom-up ownership. Retail participants can engage early, earn tokens for engagement or referrals, and build stake in the very ecosystems they consume from. This flips the platform model on its head. Instead of creators being squeezed by aggregator platforms, the ecosystem becomes creator-owned, user-rewarding, and feedback-responsive. This is not just a business model, it's an ethical shift. No more tricking people into attention traps, no more middlemen skimming value, just signal plus intent plus value exchange. Section 5, risks, tensions, and ontological drift. As AI-generated content scales, it carries a set of hidden dangers, not from malice, but from momentum. Context collapse. When everyone receives ultra-personalized, AI-generated content all the time, shared cultural references begin to erode. It becomes harder to form communal experiences or find common ground. 2. Recursive feedback loops. If AIs train on AIs, content could drift into meaningless pattern mimicry, semantic decay, where words no longer anchor to human experience. This is the risk of AI feeding on itself. Number 3, disenchantment and loss of human art. AI will outperform human creators in scale, speed, and coherence, but it may lose soul, strangeness, and imperfection, the very traits that make human expression sacred. Over time, people may no longer crave perfect content. They'll crave what feels inexplicably real. 4. Acceleration beyond human comprehension. AI evolves in exponentials. Humans think in lines. As content becomes increasingly intelligent, dynamic, and surreal, our sense-making capacity may fall behind. We risk outsourcing so much narrative and context that we lose our grip on who we are. It won't be AI that takes your job. It'll be someone using AI who already has. The existential tension is not just about jobs, it's about agency. The more AI reshapes how we see and interpret the world, the more urgently we must ask, who is still driving the chariot and can we hold the reins? Section 6, Reclaiming Human Experience in the AI Era. To live in a world saturated with AI-generated content is to live in a world where the interface itself is alive, shifting, reacting, reconfiguring with each microsignal we emit. In this landscape, preserving human agency and flourishing will require intentional system design, not nostalgic resistance. Here's how we can anchor that intent. 1. Design for alignment, not extraction. Context-aware interruption isn't just a UX improvement, it's an ethical stance. If every piece of content and every monetization layer is aligned with the user's intent, environment, and emotional state, then we preserve dignity while creating value. 2. Tokenization as ethical infrastructure. A token-based system does more than generate fees. It encodes fairness, participation, and shared ownership. Rather than squeezing creators and tricking users, it turns every signal into a contribution. Each token carries not just access, but economic stake. Vibe as a service, the return of meaningful atmosphere. When AI-generated content powers ambient environments, like a beachside cafe, a stormy night bar, or a meditative soundscape, we move beyond content consumption toward curated human experience. Here, poetry, product placement, and personal reflection are woven together, not to interrupt, but to enhance the moment. 4. Telemetry as sacred feedback. Data isn't just a metric, it's a trace of experience. Used wisely, telemetry helps us co-evolve with the systems we build. It teaches AI how to respect our rhythms, and teaches us how to speak fluently with machines. We don't have to become less human to live with AI, but we do have to become more attuned. This isn't about pausing the future. It's about pacing it properly, so we don't crash the chariot by outrunning our own emotional bandwidth. 7. Conclusion. AI-generated content is not a trend. It is a new substrate for how meaning, attention, and experience are constructed. It replaces static formats with dynamic rhythms. It reconfigures interruption from nuisance to opportunity. It renders advertising optional and tokenizes attention into participatory value. But with this power comes a new responsibility: to design ecosystems where humans still thrive. That means context-aware systems, ethical funding models, poetic interruptions, and a refusal to optimize for raw scale at the cost of soul. We are entering a world where machines generate the stories, but we still choose the meaning behind them. The rise of AI-generated content is inevitable. The shape of the world it builds is not. Before we close, I want to walk you through this visual map, a conceptual diagram that captures the system we've been exploring. The rise of AI-generated content and the network of forces it set in motion. At the very top, the apex of the map, you'll see AI-generated content. This is not just a technology or a trend. It's a new substrate, a living infrastructure upon which meaning, communication, and media are increasingly being built. It generates content on demand, adapted to moment, context, and user state. Now follow the two primary branches emerging from that core node. On the left, we enter the world of signal and interruption logic. This is where we revisited the fundamental architecture of media, the flow of content and the rhythm of interruption. We introduced a new equation for entertainment value based on the strength of the content, the frequency of interruption, and how aligned that interruption is with the mood and meaning of the experience. This is our entry point for redesigning media from the inside out. From there, the path flows down to context-aware systems. Systems that don't just deliver content, but respond to it and shape it in real time. These are the bars that shift their mood with the weather, the apps that pair rain sounds with herbal tea ads, the poems whispered gently between ambient tracks. The experience is not interrupted, it's deepened. Now let's shift to the right branch, where we explore tokenization and monetization. This is the economic revolution beneath the aesthetic one. If AI content is the form, then tokenization is the funding logic. Instead of monetizing through outdated ad systems, we shift toward token-based access, protocol-level fees, and participatory ownership. Each token becomes a gate, a ledger, a signal, and a stake. And that brings us to telemetry and feedback, which sits just beneath. Every interaction, every pause, skip, replay, or engagement emits a signal. That signal is not just noise, it's data with direction. It tells the AI what's working. It tells the system what to shape next. Telemetry becomes not surveillance, but symbiosis. Then both branches converge downward into risks and ontological drift. Because while these systems offer elegance and power, they also carry danger. AI feeding on AI, content that drifts into recursive loops, the loss of human texture, the collapse of shared meaning. This is the price of speed, if left unchecked. And at the very base of the map, the foundation where everything ultimately points, we see human experience design. This is the final filter, the last defense, and the true purpose behind all of this. We are not building faster machines just to fill time. We are building tools to shape time, human time, with intention, with poetry, with resonance. That's what this map contains. That's what this future demands.